this is the plaque in front of the house where my office is, and as you'll see, it gives you some information on the construction of the house. Date of construction, circa 1874. They don't know who the original owners are, style of the house, and then it tells you that the block was originally owned by a man named John Kiernan Mullen. But as you can see, the plaque tells you really nothing about who was in the house, who occupied the house after 1897. It says in 1897, he, meaning Mullen, built a large home at 1170 9th Street, which later became a part of gift he made for construction of St. Cajetan's Church. Now, so St. Cajetan's Church was the center of the Spanish-speaking community, but the plaques along 9th Street Park tell us absolutely nothing about the life of 9th Street Park between 1925 and 1977, when 9th Street Park was inhabited by these Spanish-speaking residents. And we can look at some more plaques also. And now we are approaching the main offices of the English department of the University of Colorado, Denver. So it's the English department that occupies this house that was once owned originally by Stephen and Kate Knight. Charles Roger and Betsy Davis built 1015 9th Street as a wedding present for their daughter, Annie Kate and Stephen Knight. Knight, a bookkeeper, later became chairman of the board of the Colorado Milling and Elevator Company, the largest Colorado-owned corporation at this time. Stephen Knight Elementary School bears his name. From 1902 to 1927, the house was owned by Edward Grimes, the president of the J. Washer Western Iron and Metal Yard. But what happened to this house in 1927? We don't know. Visitors to the campus don't know. They can't find out what happened to this house after 1927. It just feels like a pioneer settlement that was vacated completely. But of course we know that wasn't true. You enjoying the day?
I am. I'm glad it's Friday.
Yeah,
yes.
me too. So this is the inside of the English department, University of Colorado Denver English department, and 9th Street, probably now for us who work here, at least people in the English department, the most important house, absolutely the center of the English department community. Do you know who was living in this house between 1925 and 1977?
I don't. I sure don't.
So there were families living here, right? I mean, these houses were.
I know my great grandparents lived in the house across
Really?
the street.
Really?
At the corner, yes.
Wow. And so what happened to them when the university came in? And
They just moved. They sold it to another family, and yeah. But we even have pictures of them standing in the front on the balcony.
So, and where is that house exactly?
It's across the street, and it's the very first one at the corner.
So on the other side of Colfax?
Right, across from Einstein's.
Oh, across from Einstein's.
Mm-hmm. My great-grandparents used to live there.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Could we get those pictures? Could we see them?
My cousins have them. My sister has a copy also. Yeah, I can get them.
What we're doing is really about languages. You know, that's kind of interesting that the English department occupies this area that used to be the Spanish-speaking community, and now it's the English department, right? And there's always this sense that when you work in these houses that there are people living here who are just completely unrecognized, right? Spanish-speaking people, and so we're like, what happened to that part of the history?
That's very interesting.
And part of what's interesting is that nobody really. It's part of it is that the history of 1925, 1977 is unacknowledged, but you also have the sense that the university wants to bury that eminent domain decision, right? I mean, that there's something ugly about it, and there's something about it that runs counter to all of the ideals of the American university. The American university is supposed to be open and diverse, right, and to encourage multilingualism, but of course it doesn't. And so there's this kind of unconscious of the university that gets repressed, I think, and part of that unconscious has to do with the way that the university encourages monolingualism. Even though, and the way that it spouts this rhetoric of multiculturalism, even though it really doesn't follow through on that rhetoric. I wonder what the balcony, how they use the balcony.
I don't know.
I don't know if the door is open, but I know they have pictures inside now of some of the original settlers who are these very severe-looking people. The restoration of 1029th Street was made possible in part through the generosity of members of the Smedley family and the Young Mortgage Bankers Association. So the original owner is William Smedley, and I said the Smedley family. And here, so actually the Casa Mayan restaurant is recognized on this plaque, which is great. So Smedley, he was a Quaker dentist and a teacher. In 1947, one of the city's first Hispanic owner-operated Mexican restaurants, the Casa Mayan, opened at 1020. Established in the family home by Ramon Gonzalez and his wife Carolina, the Casa Mayan quickly became the place in Denver to enjoy Mexican cuisine and a gathering place for artists, musicians, entertainers, and socialites. After Ramon died in 1960, Carolina Gonzalez continued operations until 1973. So the university moved in and occupied the houses in 1977. The original owner is Oscar Bouck. Bouck arrived in Denver in 1860 driving an ox train from Kansas. He pioneered the cattle trade and managed the city's stockyards from 1896 through 1899. In partnership with J.L. Bailey, he also owned the Bull's Head Corral near the site of the Oxford Hotel. From 1904 until 1915, the residence was owned by Peter T. Austin, who owned a saloon on 15th Street. Lots of different diverse industries represented in the original settlement of 9th Street Park. So this house, this is an English department house also. Henry Cole was the original owner. He was a prominent figure on 9th Street. He built this house as an investment. In 1880, the home was purchased by Frank Wilson, who worked for the Denver and Rio Grande Railroad for 35 years and organized annual balls for the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers. The Wilson family owned the brick cottage until 1913. So Paul was a real estate mogul, but as a result of domestic problems, he divested his holdings into a trust fund administered by the Trinity Methodist Church. Although he disinherited his wife, Queen ultimately regained title to the Smedley house. Oh, intrigue, domestic intrigue. So this is 1050 9th Street Park, also UCD English Department building. Let's see if anybody's here.
Oh, come on.
We've heard that this house is haunted. Is it true?
It is true. Would you like to hear the story?
Yes.
Come on in. So you are entering 1050 9th Street Park. Beware. The legend around this house is that, see that little inset up there? So it contains a bunch of objects, and the objects are supposed to date back to the 19th century. Apparently that baby head faced the other direction. There are old-time residents in this building who attest that the baby is originally facing the other way. You can't actually enter that. It's been sealed shut for years and years. So the question is, how did the baby go from facing one direction to another? No one knows the answer. But I do know that when I heard that story, I came out and I realized that the baby was facing right towards me, and I was pregnant at the time. And I took it as an omen that I should spend less time in the office and more time probably at home caring for my kids, or else the baby might seek revenge.
What does the plaque say? Items displayed of historical importance found during restoration of the Centennial House.
Oh, so it doesn't actually date. When was the restoration?
Uh,
Oh wait, they were found during the restoration.
1990. This is the plaque commemorating the historic preservation of Nice Park. Higher Education Center was a special thanks to Historic Denver Incorporated, a private nonprofit organization which raised nearly $1 million to restore the 9th Street houses slated for demolition when the campus was built. Over 900 individuals, corporations, and foundations participated in the historic preservation project. Landscaping of the 3-acre park was provided through grants from the National Endowment for the Arts and the Land and Water Conservation Fund, a cooperative project of the Colorado Division of Parks and Outdoor Recreation and the National Park Service. 9th Street Park is listed on the National Register of Historic Places and has been designated a historic district by the Denver Landmark Preservation Commission. Tells you something about the ethnic diversity in a paragraph at the bottom of this plaque. On this side of the plaque, this is what greets you as you walk into the 9th Street Park area. It says, the Auraria Higher Education Center is located on the site of Denver's oldest continuously occupied settlement. In 1858, William Green Russell and his brothers found gold nearby and established the pioneer town of Auraria, which merged with Denver in 1860. Auraria continued to flourish between 1872 and 1906 when the houses preserved and 9th Street Historic Park were constructed. The oldest restored residential block in Denver, 9th Street Park incorporates a variety of architectural styles ranging from Carpenter Gothic to brick bungalow. And so now we have a whole paragraph, the last paragraph of this plaque. The city's ethnic diversity also has been reflected by the Auraria neighborhood. Arapaho Indians once camped here, and the community subsequently included German, Scots-Irish, Irish, Jewish, Hispanic, and other residents. 9th Street Park and other historic campus buildings remain as a reminder that Auraria was the place where Denver began. And really, this big part of the 20th century history where you have this Hispanic community is barely reflected by the plaque, which orients you as you walk into 9th Street Park.